In Civ 6, Germany is the queen bitch, despite being led by a fat ass who asked his barber for the spike drop trap from Mario with armor that looks like it's about to explode and have his rolls reverberate like jello. He expertly wields a vibrator as his weapon of choice, a most potent tool. You don't want to see what that electric dildo can do. Declare war at your own peril, cause one blink and they've produced 5 tanks, 4 bombers, 3 fighters, 2 infantry, and a partridge in a pear tree. Production is insane, and more importantly, we secure the services of Registeel around the modern era, meaning instead of the traditionally violent Deity experience of getting preyed on.
See how you feel with this is 18 inches deep inside. Get the lube. Actually, fuck the lube. Let's dry dock now.
You are the predator. That sounded better in my head. Before we get started, this video is sponsored by absolutely nobody. Let's get into it. Let's hope for a good start. Okay, well, I've seemed to have forgotten Germans are native to their ancestral homeland of Antarctica. I'm gonna need a better start than that. Much better. Floodplains, multiple rivers to act as laxatives for our cities. They're gonna just shit out all that production from dams and aqueducts. I meet our Ma, who's in such a nice location. I promised I'd play nice this game, but maybe just this once. I meet Ambiorix, who's technically French, but by looking like a Skid Row crackhead of a 12-year-old's GTA character, I'm stopped from instinctively declaring the war, as no man who superglued 2 mustaches on his face is worth tussling with. 2 turns later, he attempts to inform the world of my questionable practice. Okay, man, I'm very certain that the other city-states are going to be very disturbed by what you told them. He comes back next turn, seductively slapping a spear while making a veiled threat, looking like he got caught with 3 children and 100 pounds of Columbia's finest in his trunk. Well, I sure do have time to stew on Pussy Lips' threat, since the comet is taking millennia to drop. I turned the encampment that spawned near my land into my sex toy, securing a pantheon, and despite my finding a faith city-state in the first couple of turns, I'm left defeated. I won't be able to spawn a settler out of my ass this game. Aachen is developing into a thriving metropolis, while our underfunded military is doing its best to stop the unending hordes. I'm just hoping Gull doesn't come arrest my lackluster army for felonious lacking by sending his hordes my way. After the next ice age ends, I'm able to secure a chariot, which will be a little below the average effectiveness of a tampon in a dam breach, with its obsoleting coming in the next 10 turns. I plan out all my cities as the moisture from my nether regions proves insurmountable, as I am now currently trying to finish this game underwater and secure the Great Barrier. Oh God! I am in a more dire position than the Titanic expedition. This is a cry for help. Truly fascinating creatures, these barbarians. They see a slinger.
You're not an intellectual. You're a fake and a fraud.
Leaving behind their women and children before a valiant counterattack proves itself effective in ending their genetic bloodline right then and there. I sure would love to get the boost to archery.
So you have chosen death.
I settle my second settlement of Cologne near some bananas. I'm expecting a regime change any day now. With the second age, I can now input Ago Gay and colonization, upgrading my units and swearing my fealty to Princess Leia, while Caesar's bottom bitch doesn't approve. With the 4th of July just passed, I decide to engage in traditional American custom, unloading my rounds on someone found a few miles off my territory, using said constitutionally protected right to wipe out their armies and settle Berlin, as Ambiorix's deal of my entire economy for a crusty Reddit moderator's keyboard is left unanswered. You can suck my balls from the back, good sir. Rolling through Armagh faster than France even, slaughtering half the populace and securing my 4th city in what some might call the lewd arts. After another successful attempt of ensuring I'll keep a firm grip on the soap over the next few turns, a barb camp spawned right outside my capital, with quite literally no time to launch a proper response force before the scout and spearmen copulate, producing a large quantity of units, enough so to siege down my entire empire. I struggle to contain the serpent while planning out what'll be plus 20 industrial zones, securing classical republics, since we are civilized after all. As long as you don't ask where the native Armands went, and we look like a forward-thinking philanthropic organization. Like the Titanic snatching bodies, I go back to back, settling my 6th city while I quickly destroy the barb camp before it can complete its 3rd trimester. Not to worry, however, another barb camp spawns on the opposite side of the world, as I am currently debating as to whether or not I should launch myself onto oncoming traffic. I enter the medieval era so dark conversing with officers is a no-go for me, but that is all part of my plan as it's time to district whore. The lewd axe that will put prostitutes out of business gets going as I now have Hanzas, although we seem to have a problem since my Kriegsmarine is only slightly more effective than the Germans had IRL. I do possess the U-boat as a unique unit, but I would rather ingest sawdust collecting from a sewer pipe than waste production on them. I settle a city whose inhabitants are deservedly bullied for coming from, whilst the Gallians try spreading the good word of Ambiorix's statch. Such blasphemy cannot be made to stand, however, with no religion of my own and assuredly no great profits remaining. There's nothing I can do, right? The famous Aachen Berlin flood, while not as devastating as the average Chinese floods that would make World War II look like a LARP event, is still fairly devastating. I sure wish I could send this settler if Geneva stopped recreating the human centipede. I realize Ambiorix has knights, and understandably my under-equipped military would make the Aztecs look like military juggernauts in comparison, leading me to quickly get down on my knees and start professing my adoration for his pussy lip toupee. I settle the wreath, inching me ever closer to a heroic age despite its suboptimal location, followed shortly by my meeting with the United States. Shit, hide the bananas. After settling my 10th city, I quickly apologize to my liege for daring to settle within half a continent of his most frontier city. I finally acquire feudalism as I can now pay literal slave wages to my builders and force the children into the mines, quickly using this newfound executive power to buy up all the builders while improving my lands beyond recognition. And if it wasn't for Ambiorix turning on that ultra-legendary start and Civ 6's first ever New Game Plus, I'd be near or at respectable levels compared to my peers. After continuing to make sure I can eventually build the most advanced spacecraft man has ever known or will produce in 30 minutes or less hot and ready, I meet France. I immediately reconsider my position, but it was too late. I apologize, force of habit. I just saw her and got more mad than when Frenchmen found out who was gonna rule their storied land of baguettes in Civ 6.
What the fuck did they do? Who the fuck is this?
After convincing Abe there are in fact no bananas located in my territories by begging for a taste of his plentiful resources as we have none of our own, I secured Geneva to help our no-campus science game since I wanted to roleplay cavemen with extensive industrial capacity this game. My lack of a large ween on the science scale is a mildly disturbing statistic, especially since Gaul can potentially crush my outdated army. Despite having Ambiorix in his stats causing me to suffer an acute case of fecal incontinence and pure terror, the game is going well, playing SimCity Simulator while I secure the heroic age, now able to convince my slave labor to work in exchange for a totally real get-to-heaven-for-free pass while reforming the economy since printing money doesn't normally go so well for Germany. Finally, and most importantly, I secretly start worshipping Jadwiga's thighs, but don't tell my liege. Well, I sure do love having samurai invade my Stone Age empire cosplaying as a modern power. I do think it a little racist to call Japanese people barbarian. What? I just watched an episode. It's even worse than you could have possibly imagined. I'd get 5 muscular, sweaty dudes to run a train on me if it meant I could erase that from memory. Despite my current state of permanent suicidal thoughts, guilds helps as I give all the foremen in my factories whips and notices, informing them of my blind eyeing of labor laws increasing productive capacity. I was stun-locked for a few seconds, thinking Lincoln found my bananas, but false alarm as he's just aghast at my blatant violation of human rights. It's kind of funny how you could use that statement unironically in real life, though. After ending the multi-generational conflict between my entire military and a lone samurai where we were even more outmatched than the 2008 NBA Finals, the one where LeBron carried a bunch of Make-A-Wish kids against the Monstars, I have somehow found myself with enough faith to found my own religion. Furthermore, deciding to rebel against Ambiorix's stash and finally come out of the proverbial closet, almost slipping and selecting the cow symbol, almost getting my accounts terminated. I meet the dominatrix next, inviting me to sample her black bread. Do the Greeks not know food can go bad? I'll have what the dog's having. I still sample for the small chance she'll thank me by stepping on my scrotum. With industrialization, our production capabilities are about to hit maximum overdrive, with even a slight chance we'll be able to fix all the potholes in Aachen in the next decade. Well, it seems my sweatshops are not to Lincoln's liking as he calls me various slurs for taking advantage of the labor from the children of bankrupted families. I somehow get Apadana around turn 200 despite it having the most basic requirements. But that matters little since I have less coal than a non-CivLifeR subscriber has hose, meaning we're in for a rough game. I completely forget I was at war with France and make peace with them 40 turns after the fact, securing luxuries I desperately needed. I can only thank my lucky star she didn't appear before my troops in lingerie. The sight of her in a miniskirt is what she saves for her worst enemies, it seems. I finally secure Merchant Republic with my new money-spreading capabilities, as business is now really booming with my government of ceremonious stock traders, allowing me to purchase science buildings, leaving me to nip at Gaul's heels. With my suzerainty of Geneva, I'll also be able to avoid any war crime trials, as the laws of war and labor are now firmly in my control. I settle a city with 2 workable tiles for nothing more than coal, an excellent investment as Gorgo feels the need to call me a pussy-ass bitch who hasn't felt the warm embrace of a partner since the financial crisis of '08 for not waging wars of territorial expansion, killing millions in the process.
You should kill yourself now.
Gaul saw me struggling with the opposite sex and deemed it imperative to help by any means necessary as he launches a special pussy securing operation, much to my annoyance, in an attempt to Bill Cosby my empire, but instead of slipping something into a drink, he is slipping something into my stink. He's storming Trier with a bunch of naked men with battle cries that can only be interpreted as unrequited sexual aggression around the World War I era, as my bows and arrows do little to stop their superior military tactics, as he's about to turn my city into a screensaver. Also, France is still salty I declared on her for no apparent reason and blatantly attacks my honor, calling me a genocidal warlord with no evidence. I do purchase a frigate, significantly increasing my army's military capabilities, as I essentially have a Ferrari in a redneck's abode, but it seems to be working out as we perform several gang initiations on the invaders. I meet the final Civ, a Minotaur looking like she's about to register a strong 6 on the Richter scale, abiding by her pronouns of fee, fi, fo, and fum, leading me to offer a Twinkie to get the 700-pound assault weapon to launch a second front. Still wouldn't let my pie cool on a windowsill near her though. The second front was especially needed since the cuirassiers are in production and about to tear me a second anus. Not to worry, I've spent my excessive production well as I secure chits and eats in this moment of crisis in a city I may or may not have forgotten to switch production over to military units with nothing more than 4 jungle tiles. The cuirassier is stuck in the lake, and like any good stepbrother, I help out. Not to worry, however, my portable Stone Age relic is on the way. The field cannon causes my external sphincter to loose, necessitating a change in undergarments as it one-shots everything, probably even my cities. Their offensive operations do not seem to be in sync, however, as it essentially boils down to split our units up and allow a casting couch recreation for each one, as I divide and conquer, while I let them divide while I conquer for about 30 turns, still refusing to change tactics. I mean, after getting into the Candyman's truck once, twice, the 3rd time, synapses should have started firing, but he still refuses to change his frontal charge techniques. His military strength is showcasing the Gatorade symbol, but despite my trying to make peace with Gaul, he will settle for nothing less than back-breaking reparations, a daily stimulus package, half my empire, all my intellectuals, puppet ships, and Crimea. Why is he so stubborn? It's like he spams the B button every time I launch a reasonable peace overture. Come on! His battleship drives by the coast, doing his best method acting as King Von, leading me to think, well, my firstborn probably gonna be a bitch anyways, I'll take your deal. Especially since Nubia, despite looking pregnant, failed to deliver on that second front, making peace after the first 10 turns were up. I'd love to say the game gets crazier, but it kinda winds down from here as I make alliances with Gaul and Nubia, and America, almost all my ops aside from the generational ones, making 330 science on turn 190, Research labs are quite the spectacle to behold. Armed with a golden age and spaceports, I continue my productive run, building all the spaceports, finding where all the techs I need are hiding, and am able to launch a exoplanet expedition, while simultaneously having the power and aluminum to have my way, building whatever boosters I require. Securing a turn 260 science victory, which could have been better had I taken my head out of my ass and actually spent more than 1 minute every turn, or a total of 1.5 hours playing this game, but I always finish first. Wait. If you enjoyed this flogging I gave to Deity, leave a like and subscribe, and check out my other channel, which is essentially this style of videos with other games. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.